Hey everyone, welcome to the church channel. Welcome to another great episode of our Chit Chat Chill. Today, guys, I know that you can see the panelists. It's a group of young, vibrant, energetic teenagers from, pretty much two different churches in the New Testament Church of God. And they are here today to share with us on the topic of teen dating. You know, oftentimes in our churches, when we have discussion about dating, it's usually the young adults that are very active in those discussions. Not very often we hear our teenagers and what they feel and think about dating. Especially our Christian teenagers. So today we are just here with three young people who I am sure is more than able to speak on this topic and just to share their opinion and their reflection on teens dating. So you'll be hearing questions like, should teens date? You know, what age should they start dating if they should? And, you know, like measures and precautionary measures that they can take or should put in place to ensure moralities and all of those stuff. So, yeah, just sit back and relax and enjoy this, our Chit Chat Chill. All right, guys. So I'm going to ask these young people to go ahead and introduce themselves to you. So, young people, there are a set of other young people and old people
Exactly.
that are watching you guys now. So just go ahead and tell them about yourself.
Alright, so I am Marieka Shaw, and I come from the Lucy New Testament Church of God. I am 19 years old, and I am currently attending the Montego Bay Community College.
Hi. Hello. Yes, my name is Ashley.
So I'm from Salt Spring New Testament Church, and I am 19 years old. Yes. And I'm currently working, right? But I should be going to school September. Yes, that's me.
I am Kemar Thomas, and I'm from the Salt Spring New Testament Church of God, and I'm currently a student in Cornell College's Upper Six program.
So you have heard Ashley Kemar from, of course, the South Spring New Testament Church. And of course, we have Marieka here with us from the Lucy New Testament Church. Before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to the South Spring New Testament Church of God for opening their doors ever so often to that church for us to come in and to shoot our videos here. So the background that you're seeing now is a lovely background of the South Spring New Testament Church of God. If you live in Montego Bay or you are from this region or you just come by every now and then and you're looking for a church to attend, the South Spring New Testament Church of God is the church you need to be, is the church you want to be. It's a church where the power of God is emphasized and, of course, the quality of worship is just wonderful. So guys, yeah man, just check out the South Spring New Testament Church of God in Montego Bay. So yes, that was a plug there. So yes, guys, let us start. As you guys have heard before, the topic is really about teen dating. What's your definition of dating, especially from a teenager perspective? I think that would probably give us some grounds, for us to work from. Because once we know the definition, then we have a clear understanding of what you're saying. So, Ashley, what's your definition of dating?
All right, so dating for me, this is where you meet the person, you start talking to them. It's a getting to know stage, right? So, me and Kemar, we're here. I just want to know Kemar. He just wants to know me. Nothing serious, So we start talking to each other, getting to know each other, and that's dating. You can probably build a relationship there. you know, in terms of boyfriend and girlfriend, there's nothing wrong with that. Still dating. But when you realize you start going further with the person, you guys start doing everything together. You want to know where each other of you guys, where you are. You want to buy this for the person, and in between stuff, you know, it's more than that. So dating is really starting to get in to know the person, you know, what the person is about and all of that before you really want to go into a relationship with the person, for me.
Go ahead, Marieka.
All right, so for me, dating is, as Ashley said, is a getting to know you phase. At the same time, I also believe that you should start out as friends first. Because especially if you are like 13 going up, like you guys, if you believe that you want to get into a relationship, it's best to start as friends. Get to know the individual, what he is about before you go the next step in dating the person. In dating the person, now I believe that you know, you guys can go to like buy ice cream and those things because over ice cream persons get to know each other also. You know, buy the person things, not like expensive things, but even if like a cheat chip, bag juice, something for sure say, I care about you, you know, I
Wow.
like you. Yes, and also, it's all for me, dating is also about getting to know you, but I believe that it should also help you to find who you are. Because if you're with someone who understands you, then he or she can guide you as well if he sees that, you know, that you are on the wrong path or you are getting lost among the way. But so both of you should also be on the same level or one above the other. So one is there to help the other person.
Okay, Kemar, what's your definition of dating?
All right, so based on what I learned, because I've wanted to have this conversation with other older young persons in my church, so I sought your opinion. And what I learned is that you have dating, and then you have courting, and then you have marriage. So dating, in my opinion, is, as they both said, just getting to know somebody. However, the way I see dating is both parties should be able to say, okay, all right, when they pick up a few red flags and they say, all right, I can't work with this, they should be able to say, you know what, I don't think we're going to be able to get to that level without anyone feeling any particular way because we're just getting to know each other. And as Marieka said, just be friends. I don't like to see when persons just get up and say, okay, I like you, you like me, let's do this. And then when you realize this thing about the person, that thing about the person, everything start now, and then you end up with a lot of broken-hearted people all over the place because they throw in so much love and then it backfires and then they're like, okay. And then a few years down the line when they're actually mature to take on something like that, they're saying, you know, I don't want to date because that person is not good or that sex is not good. And it can cause a lot of future problems. So as a teenager, get to know people, get to know what you like or what you would like to have in your particular person so that you can choose your person in the future.
Okay, go ahead, no problem.
Okay, so also what I hate to see, like I see this happen a lot, especially in high school. Me and a guy just meet together. My forever, you post him all over, you cling to him, you believe that he's your future husband before you even get to know him. And as you left him, you're gone to one other boy, my forever, we not go left. Don't do that to yourself. Please don't do that to yourself. Because now you are pressuring yourself to believe that he is your future, even when you see the red flags.
Should teenagers actually be involved in dating? Ashley, since you're holding on to the mic, why not?
Okay, all right. So, from my point of view, I do not believe teenagers should be dating at this point in time. Why? Well, because at this point, you're trying to figure out yourself, and you really don't have any time to try and figure out somebody else, trying to be living for somebody else. That's what I believe. In terms of you dating someone, I also think that you would need to have a steady mindset, as Marieka said, a steady mindset, and you need to be focused because, again, you're really trying to figure out yourself at this time, where to go, what to do in life, what you want to become, right? And I'm 19 years old and I'm still trying to figure out myself. So I do not believe teenagers should be dating at this time. It comes with a lot. It's not all fun and games. Wanna say, y'all watching all those Dear and Ken YouTube channels with these, couples. It's not all fun and games, cause yes, Dear and Ken, everybody knows them,
Not
right?
everyone, apparently.
Right? So it's not fun and games. We have, and Dermaine can tell you he's married. You have the up and the down, and listen, you don't want this stress at this point in your life. No man should be stressing you. No girl should be stressing you. So I do not believe teenagers should be dating at this point. That's my take.
Okay. Kemar.
Well, in my opinion, personally, I don't think teenagers should be dating. And here's my opinion on it. First of all, as Ashley said, you're getting to know yourself. And when you're trying to know yourself and then trying to figure out somebody else at the same time, and as a male, trying to figure out a female, kind of takes some time. And you have school, and you're at the point in your life where your mind is developing and you're finding out about certain things, especially if you're a Christian, you're trying to get a closer relationship with God to keep you through this particular period in your life. And you are bombarded with a lot of things, and I just don't think that a teenager, no matter how mature you think you are, I don't think you should take on such a responsibility until you know that you are aware of your morals, your standards, what you know about yourself, and what you want for yourself.
So for me, it's both. Why? Because first of all, going with the why I believe that teenagers should not date, it really comes to your maturity and your experience. So if you're not mature enough to handle a relationship and to handle the aspects of a relationship, then it's not going to work for you. And as my other two friends had said before, is that you are trying to find yourself, and sometimes you get lost in the process, especially if you cling too much to the individual. So you don't know who you are without the person. Yes, a teenager can date depending on their age. For me, I would say like a 18 and up, but also if they're ready and mature enough to handle what they're going into.
Okay, so hold the mic. What you're pretty much saying is that it comes down to maturity. If the teen, so you're saying that the older teenagers, 18, 19 years old, who are probably going into young adulthood, can be seen as young adult, really into societal laws. You are saying that it's okay once they feel, so it's really an individual thing. If you feel you are mature enough to entertain a dating relationship, you should.
And when I say maturity, I mean spiritually, physically, and emotionally, because it can drive you insane. And especially if the person who you are going to be with is not of the same religion or beliefs as you, so it can cause you to even lose who you are.
Oh, so it's important that you explore even the very background of the person's spiritual standing, the person's spiritual wants and needs. Yeah. So, guys, you have heard two really saying no and one that is on the fence of yes and no. And of course, they gave some wonderful explanation as to their argument. At what age do you think a teen is ready to start exploring dating relationship?
Okay, so for me, I would say 18 and above. One, because like in society or in the government, you are now seen as an adult really, and you are able to now take up certain responsibilities. So now you are being more aware of your society, who you are, and to be honest, when you're about 16, you are really reaching the height of your like your maturity in some sense, and you are now developing, because sometimes, you change over a process, because for me, in grade 9, I was about 15, 16, and it's at that time I started to figure out who I was, and my body started to change. What I liked from what I disliked began to change as I grew older.
Kemar, what would you say to teenagers, probably, perhaps 13, 14, 15, 16, who are currently in a dating relationship? Because you say that you would not encourage teenagers to date at that age, or teenagers any at all to be in dating relationship. But for those who are already in those relationships, probably a 15-year-old young lady in 9th grade, have a little boyfriend. What would you say? Is it wrong for her to have a boyfriend? Or what would you say to that person?
Well, that's a pretty rough question. But nothing is really wrong to have a boyfriend. It's a part of life. That's the way God made it, man and woman. So nothing is wrong if you like somebody and decide that, okay, I want to be with this person. But it all comes down to what you can handle, as I can speak for those persons. But if you think that between ages 13 to 16 or 13 to 19 that you can take on somebody else and grow with the person, because the way I see it, I cannot take on somebody if the person attaches to me and then that person is the only person that is growing. So if you see that, okay, you are both growing and you're both learning and understanding each other and the world as Christians or even as non-Christians, then to me that's okay. But if you're being with somebody and you're seeing that this person is just taking from you and you're just at a level, you are becoming distorted within yourself and the person isn't really fulfilling your emotional needs or stuff like that, and you find yourself in a frenzy when it comes to this person, especially when obsession comes into play, and you find that, all right, you can't do certain things without this person. If the person is talking to somebody else, you go crazy and all that and something. So it all comes down to you, and if you can manage all of this at whatever age.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Okay, in terms of that question, for me, I believe at ages 13 through to 16, you're wasting your time. Honestly, you understand? Because at that time, for me, it's always been a boyfriend is not necessary, even up to now, right? You're wasting your time. Why? Because at that time, it's pure infatuation. It's just infatuation. You might think you love the boy or the girl and you would, do anything for him or her. It's pure infatuation. And then when you grow up, when you reach a certain age, you're going to realize, whoa, what me did really I do that age? I really never liked the youth, them really never liked the girl. So I'm telling you, you're honestly wasting your time at that age or at those ages. You're wasting your time because there is nothing serious at that time. You don't know anything serious in terms of relationship. You're not serious about a relationship. You don't know what a relationship needs to entail. All that a relationship should entail. You don't really know all of that. So at that age, you are wasting your time.
Wow. And, listening to you guys, I draw really the opinion that teenagers are not yet emotionally capable of maintaining a mature dating relationship, to be mature about it, because even from what you just said a while ago, that in high school, you find a lot of teenagers, I meet the guy today, everything, and they hear my forever tomorrow. And they start behave exclusive and behave as married couple do. So you guys are saying that teenagers are not at that stage emotionally to really maintain a mature dating relationship. So you're saying that they should shun away from it. And for those who are already in it, based on what Kemar said, that you're not saying that, hey, it is wrong, but you're saying that they probably should not invest so much in it. And as Ashley said, that you're really wasting your time if you are entertaining a relationship between the age of 13 to like 16, 17, because they are saying that they don't think that you are at that stage of maturity to entertain it. What are some things that the person can look for in themselves to know that, yes, I am really mature, or, I'm not as mature as I think?
All right, so one of the very things that I think a girl or a boy should look for is their confidence and their self-esteem. Because if they don't believe in themselves and who they are, the other person can lead them astray or let them believe that, no, this is not who you are to be, this is who you are to be, right? And also, if they have a low self-esteem, they're going to depend on the person to always make them feel good. And because of that, they don't want to leave the person because he or she is the only person who accepts me or make me feel the right way. Maturity, likewise, I also believe that you should look into not just being emotionally ready, but spiritually and physically. Because if one of them is not ready, you will still be in trouble. Because you have to be spiritually strong to stand on your ground and to know that, yes, this is what I believe in and no one will lead me astray from that. Emotionally, that the person will not break my esteem. I am bold enough, I am confident enough, and I am strong enough to know that if he isn't the right person, then I am able to walk away, right? And physically, sometimes there may be some aspects of your body that you may not like and such, and you depend on other persons, just as I said before with self-esteem. So the emotionally and the physically can come in line, right? Can connect or intertwine depending on the situation or who the person really is.
Yeah, Ashley.
I would agree with Marieka. You need to be confident with who you are, know whose you are, as we always say in church, and, be you. Like, don't try to change for anybody else, because once you do that, everything is gonna go downhill, because you're not living for you, you're
Yeah.
living for somebody else, which that should not be the case, because God only made one you, and if you don't be you, nobody else will, right? So you just need to know yourself, be confident, and you can definitely go ahead and put yourself out there when you are ready or stable enough.
Yeah.
Also to add, when you believe that you are ready, look into how you handle situations. If you and someone get in a disagreement, how do you handle it? Do I handle it the right way? Do I handle it in anger? Do I ignore the person? So how you handle situation also can help you to know that you are ready or you are mature enough to go into a relationship.
So, Kemar. Oh, thank you for that answer. Kemar, let me ask you this. There are some persons who will argue that they have been with their partners from they were in high school, teenagers, and they grow up, married the same person, have children, living Christian life just the same, and all of those stuff. How would you answer to such a person? Because you are saying, and Ashley saying, that teenagers should not be involved in dating relationships, and that is where, of course, the pivotal part of any relationship, or should be the pivotal part of any relationship. How would you respond to that person?
Well, there are a few blessed, or should I say lucky people in the world who would be able to go from high school
That is also
straight through. That's a Disney thing. Go from high school straight to marry and all of those things and still stay intact. But I don't think that wouldn't work for everybody. As old people say, puss and dog not the same luck.
Yeah.
So what might work for them may not work for me, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
So probably they found ways to work for themselves or work on each other and grow to the point where they are able to say, all right, I really appreciate this person in my life and I really would like to take it further with
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Ashley?
Also, there is no problem. Again, dating for me, you are getting to know the person. There is no problem with you talking to someone from age 13, going all the way up, yes, and get married and all. There's no problem. But what we are saying is don't dive too deep at first, right? So age 13, 14, definitely, you can definitely talk. We are humans and we are going to have feelings. You know, we're going to see a nice guy, we're going to see a nice girl that we eye catch, you know? So there's nothing wrong with that. In approaching that person, you know, I'd say I would be happy for them, you know, puss and dog not the same luck. But, you know, and it's not a fairy tale. Some of us really do hope that our lives would be like that, you know, just work with one person from morning till night, you know, and just marry that person. A lot of us would wish that for ourselves. But that is not life. Some of us, unluckily, we have to, or unfortunately, we have to go through a process. You know, sometimes you have to go through persons to reach that person, and a lot of person can attest to that, you know. So, I mean, kudos to those who found love at first sight from 15, 13, going up. Kudos to you, but there is no problem with talking, dating somebody at that age, and then growing up to really love the person and get married to that person.
Thank you for those responses, guys. Guys, I really appreciate your responses and your honesty, because a lot of teenagers out there, they are found themselves in relationship, in dating relationship, and also what I've recognized is that they have given things that they cannot retrieve from the person. You know, and when I say things, I think I can be very open to say some of them have lost their virginities to persons who they wish they had not given it to, you know, just because they have lost themselves in persons like those, in situation like, you know, giving themselves into dating and feeling like this is the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with at the age of 14. So Kemar, want to respond to that? Go ahead.
And even in relation to that, I want to target the young Christians now. And I'm going to pull a little bit on the spiritual card. You see, if you aren't spiritually mature and you take on certain people, because as much as how you have young Christians in the church, and not everybody upon the level where you are. So you have to be very careful and mindful of yourself. Remember that when you become a Christian, you take on Christ within you. Christ is within your temple, so you have to be careful what you take onto yourself. And a lot of times you think that, okay, because I like this person, I'm obligated to do whatever the person says, or if the person brings certain argument to me because of the idea of love, I should do whatever the person says. And a lot of times we deprive our morals, our Christian morals and our personal morals, just to please somebody because of the idea of love. Love is a wonderful thing, but love is beautifully deadly. And if you are not careful, you can hurt yourself to the point where you are afraid to come back to love somebody because of what you have been through. So as young Christians, I want to say to every teenager out there, be careful of who you take on to yourself. It is okay to say, you know what, I like this person, fine. It's a part of life. You can like the person, but get to know the person if this person is spiritually fit as you are. Because trust me, marriage is not just something you get up and do like in the movies, you know, happy days all the time. Especially if you're Christians and you're grounded Christians, trust me, based on what I've seen, the devil is going to come at your marriage. So if you cannot find somebody who is spiritually grounded, and if you aren't spiritually grounded yourself as a teenager, and it all comes back to the idea of knowing yourself, knowing what you want, getting to know God at the same time, because when you know God, you begin to know yourself. And when you find all of that out, finding somebody else becomes so much easier because you already know what you want.
But Kemar, I want to ask you this. You made mention of marriage, and we're talking about teenagers. Should teenagers in high school, they have CXCs, you have so many exams, you have to think about college, you have to think about your career path, you have to think about your objectives and your goals in life. Should teenagers actually have marriage as one of those things that they're thinking about? Not that I'm saying that they shouldn't, because probably it will come as a part of their future. And when you're thinking about your future, marriage might come into play. But should it be so important in high school for you to be thinking about marriage?
Well, if you sit and you begin to think and you look ahead in the future and you see how far marriage is. Once you see that it's quite far, leave it that far until you get closer to it. Because a lot of times we get, we like this person and the person is as nice as whatever. And then we say, yo, this is the one and blah, blah, blah. And you become so deeply rooted in love with the person. And then when the person break your heart, no, you fall and then you're like, oh, and you wipe us. A lot of crazy stuff happens. So nothing is wrong with thinking about it. You want to have and be the best for yourself. So nothing is wrong with saying, I would love to get married in the future, but don't allow it to be at the forefront of your decisions or your plans. As I said, between your teenage years, in my opinion, what teenagers should be thinking about is school, college, and their relationship with God.
Yes. So, as I was going to say that at first, marriage is nowhere near your life when you're a teenager. Okay? Like, that is not something. As Kemar said, yes, you can think about it. Everybody wants to get married, wants to have the perfect family. But yes, marriage though, when you're a teenager, that is not something you should be looking to do at that time. Marriage comes with a lot. I haven't been married, but Dermaine can attest to that. But it comes with a lot. From what I've seen, family members, friends, it comes with a lot. There is no need for you to be thinking about marriage as a teenager because you are not able to handle that. You're not able to handle that. And I'm sure for half of these, or most of these Jamaican parents, them don't want them putting them married, teenage years. It's not, at this point, it is not possible because, again, you are trying to figure out yourself. You don't know exactly what you want. And we watch movies all the time. This person gets married at a teenage, at a young year, 19, 20. By the time they reach in deeper in the marriage with the person, they realize, this person is not for me. I don't want this person. Why did I ever marry this person? You understand? So you can think about marriage. Yes, we want to get married when we're older. But at this time, you shouldn't be thinking to do marriage. No, it's not necessary.
Okay, so for me, I come back now to maturity because there are some persons in our society who got married at the age of 18 and today are having a lovely family. They have their careers, they have everything. So that's where maturity comes in. But to me, you as a teenager should not have marriage on your mind because it is a lot of responsibility. And I will share this small quote that my friend told me. You are ready for the wedding, but not the marriage.
Drop the mic. Yeah, of course. Well, that is really a profound quote. You are ready for the wedding, not the marriage, and that is so true. Many persons they had a beautiful wedding and having a horrible marriage. So yeah, guys, I really respect what you have said because this is something that I have observed, and I'm sure that many persons would have seen happening, especially among our Christian teenagers, where the attraction start to come on, where you're attracted to the opposite sex, and sometimes they don't know how to deal with those attractions. Now I want to ask you guys a question now where we will be looking at the church. Do you guys think the church is doing enough to educate teenagers on having healthy social relationships? I didn't say dating there. To have those, to entertain those kind of relationships with the opposite sex where that there are the right boundaries and barriers are erected to protect themselves from, the emotional trauma that a relationship, that dating or certain depth of dating can cause. So do you think the church is doing enough, Marieka?
Okay, so to some extent, because for me,
Marieka, I love you borderline, you know, you not get your son out.
For me, because in youth fellowship, they would always speak about social relationship with your opposite sex and what you should do and what you should not do. But at the same time, I think more can be done into teach persons how to handle their feelings, and if they believe that they want to go further than just being friends, then they should be able to be honest and to talk to them and not tell them, don't do this, don't do that. Because to be honest, once you tell a teen not to do this, then go do it. And then if you like discriminate them, treat them certain ways because they chose what they want to do, then it is going to lead them further into the pit, because now when they're having problems, they won't come to you, right? And I've seen that happen a lot in churches where the person is in a relationship even though you told them not to, and they're falling and they're like, she put herself in the problem, me not look upon her because she should have known better. But at the same time, some of us need you to be there to lead us, because at the same time, we're humans, we will have feelings and we want to explore many of the times.
Yeah, wow. So adults, for the adults who will be watching this and who are watching, I want you to listen to all of these young people here. They're teenagers, and she just made some important point. It's not just don't. It's best to lead, to take, to show, to give examples of the damage, and also make yourself accessible, make yourself attractive for teenagers to come to you and share with you their issues that they are going through. All right, so Kemar, go ahead and respond to that.
Well, as Marieka said, the church, to an extent, but I think a lot more can be done. Now, the way how I see it, teenagers are like, they are walking, at this particular stage, they're just walking, they don't know what is in front of them. They're a bit naive to a lot of things. So the older young people or the older adults would have understood or would have went through some, if not all, of what most teenagers have gone through. Now, a lot of times I've seen in churches where persons just condemn the teenagers when they do a particular thing. And I'm like, I understand that, listen, what they're doing is wrong, but what are you doing to correct the wrong that they're doing? And I look at it and I'm saying, and I was having a discussion with a group of young people a few weeks back, and I was saying, the older persons who are there should take the initiative to say, you know what, teach us what is happening out there, because a lot of teenagers just go and they say, all right, they stumble upon this thing and it looks nice. No one is there to tell them that, okay, well, persons might be there to say this thing is wrong, but they're not telling them why it's wrong. So they're going to know, venture out, and then when they find out why it's wrong, they're going to fall into something. And then when the church finds out, then a shadow is cast on the teenager, and then the person is pushed to the back, literally, and a whole lot of things. So I believe that older young persons in particular should take initiative to take on the teenagers and teach them, tell them about these things that are out there, because the world is real and dreadful. And as Christians, personally, I would hate to see teenagers come and then because of things of the world they fall. Because that's not good, because you're losing a lot of talent right there. So I believe that persons should take on the initiative to take on teenagers and say, you know what, this is what's happening. Have these forums in youth fellowships or so on, and pastors or whomever in the church sees that, listen, we have a good set of teenagers within our church, and we want them to get to that level where they can handle themselves spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Have these real talks with them and let them know that, listen, there are some people out there who just want to take your body. There are some persons out there who just want to take what they want from you emotionally and go, and you have to be careful. So we have to advise our young teenagers of this, because the way how I see it, I cannot go to a teenager and tell him that, okay, you know that is wrong, when I am struggling with it at the same time. That doesn't make any sense. I can only share my struggle and they share their struggle, and they say, no, I pray for you, you pray for me. I need somebody who is older than me to say, okay, this is what you're going through, and even if they haven't went through it as yet, they can say, all right, I can help you to find a way to get through this. And I find that a lot of times teenagers struggle and person just goes straight to, the Corinthian scripture, the Pauline scriptures and stuff like that. And that's okay to apply this scripture to the struggles that teenagers are going through. But what I realize is, what if the teenager doesn't know what the scripture, the interpretation of the scripture means, and then you quote it to them and they're like, all right. And when the issue comes up again and the scripture comes back, they don't know what to do with it and they fall to the problem. So it's good to tell them what the word says, but share something with them to show that, listen, what you are going through is real, other people go through it, and there's a way to get out of it, and then apply what the word says to what they're going through to add to the advice that you have already given to them.
Wow, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
Right. So all I want to say is that the point of the matter is just for our leaders or those who are set over us just to be real with us. That's just it. Because we don't want the sugar-coated. As Marieka said and Kemar said, once you tell we not to do it, we go want to know why we not to do it. So we just need you to be real with us. If you say don't touch the TV because don't touch the TV, why am I not supposed to touch the TV? Is it that it's going to shock me? Is it that may I go mash it up? Why? You understand? We just want you to be real with us. Right? That's all we want as teenagers, as young people. We just want to know what we should do and shouldn't do, just straightforward. Just give it to us like that, So that's all I have to say in terms of that.
Just a question to the adults in our church. Is it that you are ashamed of your past, or is it because you don't want to open up to us why, you don't tell us your real on experience with being in a relationship? Because all we're asking for you is to just be real with us. Just tell us as it is. Because if you don't, then we are going to want to find out why, and get ourselves involved in it.
And I am asking for the adults who are watching this. You have just heard a question being asked by a teenager. I'm going to ask that for those guys who are capable to just go ahead and respond to that question in the comment section of this video. All right? So guys, the final question that I want to ask you now, you have given your opinion on dating for teenagers. What are some advice that you will give to your fellow teenagers in dealing with the pressures that comes with the stage that they are in life right now, exploring their bodies, exploring their feelings, and, balancing, dealing with the opposite sex, how to deal with that? What are some advice that you will give to teenagers?
Okay, so for me, I have about 2 or 3 advices. One, know what love is. You have to know what love is. And don't bother with a guy who you meet 2 days and he says, I love you. No. He doesn't love you. He hardly knows you. And you yourself should know what love is. Because I'm a person, I won't tell you I love you until I know that I really love you. And the whole I love you to the highest standard. Because when I say that, I mean it to my heart that I really do love you. And also do not, my teenagers, my friends, my brothers, do not do missionary dating, oh Lord. Do not be with a guy and say, I will convert him to be a Christian. He likes me and I like him and he's not a believer. People do not, because many of the times...
What is it called?
Missionary dating.
Yeah, I never... Yeah, don't do that.
Missionary dating. So you are with a guy or a girl who is not a Christian and you're trying to convert them. And it's mainly because the both of you like each other, but you know that you're supposed to be equally yoked, so you're trying to make him equally yoked. Bless the Lord.
I feel that.
Right. So don't do the missionary dating thing, and know what love is and know who you are. Because once you know who you are, you will know what you want and what you want to get yourself involved in.
Okay, all right, so missionary dating. I'll keep that in mind. All right, and that's something a lot of us do. That's true. So for me, guys, with this whole dating thing, please get to know yourself. We've been saying that from the start. Get to know yourself. Get to know Christ, right? Because it's He who lives in you, right? And with Him, you become more confident. With Him, you become who you are supposed to be, all right? Two, do not dive into something you know that at the end you might regret. If you see the red flag, as Kemar said from morning, if you see the red flag, please. I know it's hard sometimes because yes, you might like the guy, you might like the girl, I've been there, right? Do not die. It is not going to turn out properly. Do not dive into it. So please, again, guys, get to know yourselves, get to know God. You know, let Him be, song says, Jesus at the center of it all, from beginning to the end. All right? And do not dive into a relationship that you know that you're not ready for. As Marieka said, make sure you are emotionally stable, right? When you're diving into something, make sure you know what you want for yourself and how you would react in certain situations, how you will deal with certain situations before you get there.
In relation to what Ashley just said, we also need to know the reason we are getting into the relationship. Is it because he's cute? Is it because I see that he's a great Christian and I would like to know him and, get to know him and what he does? Is it because
He's popular.
is popular or he just fling me two sweet words? I mean, in it, you have to know why you're going into a relationship with this person and what you expect from the relationship.
Well, they have said a lot, but I'm going to try to put all that I've thought about together. All right, so personally, between the ages of 13 to 16, I started, first time I dated was at age 16, but between 13 to 15, I did not date. And that's like from about grade 7 to 9, and going through that, I went to all boys school, and when I hear my classmates talking about them having talking to 3, 4 girl and all of them something there, and I'm like, brother, and I wanted to go down that road, and it never worked out for me. So I say, you know what, I go just keep me cool,
Thanks for your honesty.
just keep me cool, and then now I began to see that, I really wanted a closer relationship with God, and I began to seek God through those years, even though I was having a few personal issues. And I really began to understand what Matthew 6:33 means. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all other things will be added unto you. And I realized that when you seek God, I began to see and understand certain things as a young man growing up. And because I wasn't really taught certain things, so most of the things I learned is either God showed me or I picked up on it. And when I saw this, I'm like, whoa. And I saw that, I did not really need to get into a relationship between age 13 to 15 onwards because I did not know anything. And taking on somebody at that point for myself would now cause a lot of problems. And that is where I will say, if you don't know what you want for yourself, and if you cannot be real with yourself to the point where you can say, listen, I am really not ready to take any of this on, because a lot of times we acknowledge the fact that we cannot take this on, but because we are so familiar with, or we are so fond of the idea of having a significant other around us, I don't know if it's for clout or whatever, but because we're so fond of the idea, and there are some persons who I've come across who have dated throughout their young teenage lives, and now they're single, and it's harder for them to manage themselves because they don't know what it feels like to stand alone. And that's going to cause a problem because you're going to be chasing after things and persons and falling. So I would like to say to every teenager out there, get to know God as a teenager. Honestly, it works. Get to know God, seek after God, read His Word, foster a relationship with God. Because when you get to know God, you begin to see that, okay, this is what God wants from me. Because God will begin to open your eyes and you'll begin to see that, all right, this is where I'm supposed to go. This is what I'm not supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. You begin to find out about yourself as a Christian. And when you begin to find out about yourself, you'll be able to take on others, whether it be a friendship or a relation, whatever type of ship, you are able to take on, yes, ships. You are able to take on those persons and get to know the person. So as long as you are confident, and self-esteem is a really big thing. If you are not confident in yourself, if you are not comfortable with yourself, you cannot be comfortable with somebody else, because you're just going to be putting yourself down and pushing the person up, and nothing will come out of that.
Yeah.
So I just want, there's a lot I would love to say, but I just want teenagers to understand that, listen, in truth and in fact, you aren't mentally ready. Because this is when your emotions are now falling into line and you're saying, okay, I'm liking this and I don't like that. And you just need to fix yourself.
And sometimes what you think you like at 15, you don't like
Yes,
it at 16.
it eventually changes. So you have to find out yourself first. Nothing is wrong with liking somebody, but don't allow yourself to fall so much that you begin to do above and beyond as a Christian. So get to know God. Get to know what you want for yourself, and then everything else will come afterwards.
Okay, Ashley, go ahead.
And also, one thing I'd like to say to you guys as well, do not follow anybody. Peer pressure is serious. Don't follow anybody. Even now at work, while I am working, most of them are not Christian, right? So you know, they do basically worldly and stuff, right? And I've had the friends that surround me on a day-to-day basis, you know, telling me to do this and get with that type of man or whatever. Do not fall into that pressure, because you see, that's not something you want for yourself. It's something that somebody else wants for you. And if you don't want that for yourself, then it makes no sense. You're not pleasing yourself, right? So do not fall into peer pressure. Try your best. Once you have God, as we've been saying from morning, get to know God, all right? Get to know God and know yourself, and do not fall into any peer pressure.
Amen to that. Guys, I want to say to you that it is important, to my teenagers now, that it is important that at this stage of your life, you are focusing on developing you, learning you know, building yourself. A relationship will come. You don't need to run it down. It will come. You know what you need to run down because it is leaving? Your schoolwork. The older you get, your schoolwork is going further from you. Relationship is coming to you. So you don't need to run at it. And also, you can entertain healthy social relationship. And again, I'll say, you notice I didn't say dating there, because I've recognized that the word dating is very ambiguous, and a lot of persons, they have a lot of definition for dating. So I will say healthy social relationship with the opposite sex. So getting to know the person, it's fine. You know, hanging out in public areas, fine. Going on group dates, it's fine. But at the end of the day, do not invest anything in somebody that you will regret if you guys break up, or you will get heartbroken over if you guys should go your separate ways. Let me not even say break up, but go your separate ways. So if that person should leave your life, you should not have any form of regret or feeling heartbroken, because you have invested your body, you have invested your emotions, you have invested so much into this person where you feel, you know, it affects you for the rest of your life. If this person decides that I don't want to be your friend anymore, I don't want us to be together anymore, then you should say, okay, fine. And at the end of the day, you say, oh, thank God I did not. You know, so it's important that you assess yourself at this stage. You learn who you are, what you want, what you want in life. Focus on college, focus on your career, focus on becoming somebody that will attract the right person who you want. You know? So yeah, man, you have all your life for that. When you reach 20, in your lower 20s, guys will be flocking you. You know, it's just to choose the right one. Men, girls will be coming on at you like crazy. It's just for you to really choose and, seek God in finding the right one. So you don't need to be rushing that right now. Really, just spend some time learning God and learning your spirituality at this time. So, guys, I want to say thanks to these wonderful young people, and we have heard our teenagers spoke, as I said before at the start of this video, that I've recognized, because I've been to quite a few youth fellowships, in my capacity as a teens board member in the New Testament Church of God, and also as a pastor. I have listened in most of these different discussions that we have in the churches where datings are concerned. Teenagers are usually sitting down and just listening. Not oftentimes we get their opinion on dating. So here we have 3 young, vibrant teenagers who I think did a wonderful job and really share their heart on how they feel about dating for teenagers. So guys, continue to watch the channel. I don't want you to keep this information that you have garnered today for yourself. So please go ahead and click the share button. Share it on your social media platform. Share it on your WhatsApp. Share it on your Instagram. Share it on your Facebook. If you have Twitter, share it there as well. So just share it with everyone so that persons can have an understanding of what our teenagers are thinking at this stage in their life. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click the subscription button for more content, related content. Yes, so guys, give a thumbs up as well, and thank you so much for... That's what them say. Indeed. So guys, thank you for watching, and guys, thank you for coming out and sharing with us today. God bless you, church family. Have a wonderful day.